Disneyland in Florida with my uncle. Yeah, I don't want to sound like that because my uncle took, because he paid for everything. Don't want to go into
Did
why.
he pay a reasonable price, or was he
He paid less than
overcharged?
you paid for Fort Park. Anyway, there's a ride there, and I can't remember what it's bloody called, but you basically get in this thing and you go round, and then it's basically a lift, and it just falls. It's Tower of Terror, it's called, something like that.
Interesting.
And that is awesome, because you don't know when it's going to happen, and it changes it every time, or it changed every time when we did it. I don't know whether... I don't know. But anyway, you get in it, and I think there's 3 different tracks it can go on. So you sit down, and you're going around, and there'll be like these CGI ghosts appearing around you, just telling you like to turn around and
Are
go
you sure
back.
they were CGI?
Well, I don't know for sure, but you'd basically go through, and you go through, and you go through, and then you'd stop, and then you'd either carry on or you'd fall. But you'd be like going around like that for ages, never knowing when it's going to happen. And then suddenly out of nowhere, you'd just fall like 12 floors in a lift, and just at the bottom, it'd just yank you back up and pull you up to the top again. And yeah, that was bitching, because then you go right up to after I open these doors, and you'd be able to see out. I can see my dad sitting on a bench waiting for us, because he doesn't like rides. Bless him, he'll turn grey.
Sounds like a wise man.
Yeah, but we went on that about a million times. He did try and go on rides that holiday. He didn't just go to Disneyland and not sit on anything. He tried. The first ride he went on was Space Mountain, and he went round that, and it's like a 2.5-minute ride. Got off that grey, and looked like he was about to have a heart attack and die. I got off with whiplash. Was absolutely outraged.
You're talking of bloody whiplash.
yeah.
Look, can you see that bruise on my arm?
It's a hefty
That
bruise.
is from Stealth at Fort Park, which basically takes you up to like 100 miles an hour and throws you up in the air. And then as you get back down to the bottom, being thrown up in the air, it slams the brakes on. And I just launched forward when the brakes slammed on, and both my arms smacked into the bloody restraint. I've got
Towers
massive
have one like that,
bruises.
where it doesn't end. It starts by just firing you at 100 and something mile an hour round the track. I can't remember what that's called.
It's called
now.
Rita.
Rita, that's it. And that's horrible. That's one that hurts you. You suddenly slam it. You know it's going to happen, but again, you don't know when. They don't say to you it's happening in a second. They just go bang, and that's not nice.
My favourite ride. Well, the one
I
that
didn't ask.
the one that put the biggest smile on my face throughout the whole weekend.
Was Anna?
I really enjoyed the teacups.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Really enjoyed the teacups. They're Tetley ones. It's not just any old
Wow,
teacups.
that's where your money's going.
Yeah.
Paying for that endorsement.
And I
isn't
was
it?
all over them. I loved them. No, but a more sensible answer. I like all the water rides. I hate roller coasters. Having now been to Alton Towers and Fort Park, I can confidently say I strongly dislike roller coasters. So I didn't like any of them. But I really like the water rides. I'll have nice bit of rapids, anything that will get me wet. There's one there. The tidal wave at Fort Park is ridiculous. It's basically the biggest log flume you've ever seen. And when you come flying down the bottom of it, it just puts this massive wave that then goes about 40 feet, covering everyone walking on the path near it. But I got so wet on that ride, and it wasn't from the initial splash. We basically came flying down into the pool of water at the bottom. There's this massive splash, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I am a little bit wet. And then the next splash from behind you just soaks you through.
Destroys
My T-shirt weighed about 6 stone after that. We had to go back to the room and get changed.
Brilliant.
It's ridiculous.
I was sat here thinking, I'm sure I've been on the world's longest log flume. I haven't. It was the one at Alton Towers used to be the world's longest. That's what, if anyone heard tapping there, when he said, it was probably the longest log flume ever, I thought, no, I've been on
I think
that.
we'll find out she said
But,
highest, but continue.
Did you say highest? Oh,
I
sorry,
did.
I completely misunderstood what you meant there. But no, I was looking at the Alton Towers one's quite cool. I remember you go through loads of black tunnels, dark tunnels and that. And every time we got to a tunnel, we'd go in silently, and the second one of us was in it, as you'd go into it, we'd all start going da 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 da, and by the time we come out, we'd be shouting at the top of our voices. But as we come out into the light again, we'd all go quiet. So all these people were walking through, because there's like a park around it, and they could hear all this yelling, and then suddenly we come out silently and be going, "Oh, who was that?" Just pretending there was this really loud boat behind us making all the noise. It was brilliant. We did that again and again and again. Never got tiring.
Nice. I do feel I should point out, I also have to credit Dave Lane 78 with that question from Twitter as well, because I'm just looking at the next question down on the list. He also asked, best theme park ride you've ever been on? Any you wouldn't ever go on? Yes, Dave, there are some that I wouldn't ever go on. Saw at Fort Park looks absolutely horrific. It basically starts off and takes you straight up vertical in the air, stupidly high, but it does it so slowly. You just go up, and it gets to the top, and you sat at the top, and it brings you around and sort of then goes back in on itself, so you can't even see the track, and then it's got these spinning blades at the bottom of it. Yeah, I wouldn't go on that one. It looks horrible.
I went on a ride that had a setting. You had a choice. I can't remember what it's called. It's like Drayton Manor or something in Staffordshire. It might not have been Drayton. It's something like that anyway. Where you stand on this plate, you pull the harness over the top of you, and you hold on, and it fires you up into the sky, and then it stops at the top. And again, all my rides seem to be ones where you don't know you don't know when it's going to do it, but you're standing at the top, you're looking around, and at some point that's going to drop. And I went on that, and it was horrible. And I only went on it once. My mates wanted to go on it again and again. I didn't want to go on it again. But there was an option to just have the harness over you and you hold on and no thing underneath you. So you were just hanging. And I was like, I'm not doing that. My mate's like, yeah, let's do it. It'll be brilliant. But I was like, I am not doing that. That was just suspending hundreds of meters in the air by your hands, basically. And
nice.
I imagine if you'd let go, the thing would still hold you there. You'd be back, you're under.
Yeah, you imagine that would be the case.
But it looked terrific. These blokes were on it before us. They come down and they were just dangling there, nothing underneath them. And I just thought, you knobs. It just doesn't feel safe at all for me. There was another. I mean, I went on one. It's another to go with the good rides, but it's similar to this one because I'm massively pansied on it. I got on a ride at Parc Asterix in France.
I've been there,
which is awesome. And it's got like a 13-loop roller coaster.
Yeah, I've been on that one. That was awesome. I went on that over and over again.
Yeah, when I got there, I didn't really want to go on it. My cousin went on it, and we went and did something else. And then we met up later on, and he said to me, "No, come on, it's bitching, it's brilliant." So we sat down, and I don't know if the rules are just different in France or what, but it started moving, and there was no harness. And I thought, well, hang on a second, this has got 13 loops, and there's no harness, and it's already moving, and we're going up. What is going on here? And I was bricking it. I'm sat there going, I'm not going to harness. I'm not harnessed in. And my cousin's going, it's all right, you don't need one. It's all right, don't worry, you don't need a harness. There was no harness when I went on it. And I'm believing him, and I'm thinking, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to survive. And as you get right up to the top and you're about to go over the edge, then harnesses come out on you and lock you in, and then you go down. But I fell for that completely. I was probably the most hysterical I've ever been in my life. I'm a pretty hysterical person, but I was just having a meltdown.
There is no way they'd get away with that.
Exactly.
Surely.
England wouldn't do that.
No.
I don't know what the rules are.
What if it didn't fit? What if it malfunctioned? What if it didn't work? What if you were too fat for the harness to fit?
But it was such a risk. I remember I had a meltdown. But I've had a similar thing happen at Alton Towers where it didn't work. And I went to go then, and I had to scream, it's not locked! Because he'd come, they pull it quickly. He just kind of went, And I was like, he went to walk away, and I'm going, it's not locking! And they're just about to go, and they come and they checked, and I wasn't locked in. So that time I knew. But in France, I had a hissy fit.
Do you ever get the temptation that when you're on a roller coaster, especially these ones that start slowly, and they're just slowly cranking you up somewhere high, when that happens, I get an overwhelming urge to just check the seatbelt, and I just want to see if it unbuckles, and I have to fight to stop myself just giving it a go. Now, I know they're probably locked in as well, but I can't. I just desperately want to I wonder if it does unbuckle. I just want to see, but I'd probably die if it worked.
I'm awful because I can't, I have friends who like to put their hands in the air like in a big sort of star, and they're really enjoying it. I hold on because I think I'll be the poor guy who puts his hands in the air, just loses an arm the whole ride around. I was watching one of my mates do it from behind. Like he was sat there with his hands in the air, I was in the row behind him. I could just see his hand probably not even half a metre away from bars. And I'm guessing they've probably done tests, longest arms.
You're guessing they've probably done tests.
They've probably checked that there's no person.
They're probably checked. Yeah.
No person alive has got arms long enough. But it just freaks me out. I have to hold on.
If that freaks you out, there's one at Fort Park called X, which is their Ministry of Sound ride, and it's an indoor roller coaster in the dark, and it's got strobe lighting. Now, when you're going looping around underneath barriers and stuff with strobe lights, when the lights come on and you realise you're like 2 inches away from a bar, you don't have time to have that logical thought process of, well, it looks like I'm going to hit it, but I know they've tested it, I'm probably not going to hit it. You have the light come on and you're so close to hitting it you think you're going to die. And there were several moments on there where I thought, got through, that's fine. But I was convinced I was going to die on that ride. That was ridiculous. And that didn't have, because it's not like a big ride. So it doesn't have like the proper harnesses that come over. It's just one of those lap ones as well. I don't like them. I want to be strapped in properly.
Yeah, I need to be. That strobe lighting thing always worries me. I know they probably put millions of warnings on the way in, but I remember I went to Chessington and I got on this like Mr. Professor whatever's bubble whatever, and it blows bubbles around and you're going around. It's like a water ride, but suddenly you go through a room that's just strobe lighting, and I thought, I don't know if I'm epileptic. It's never come up. I've never had a fit, but I could be. I was just going through it thinking, my God, imagine not knowing you're epileptic and this is how you find out. They just destroy you with strobe lighting.
Having a fit on the ride, that would be
But
outstanding.
I hate that. That messes with my mind. I don't mess with everyone's mind, just seeing everything go in slow motion. But I could do without that on a ride.
Talking of things that mess with your mind, another question from Whittip on Twitter. The stomach churning sensation on pirate ships, yay or nay? He likes it.
See, I don't... Being someone who gets motion sick all the time, I don't get sick on pirate rides.
Oh, God,
I just
do.
feel a little bit like, when you get that rush through your legs when you feel like you're falling.
Yeah.
I get that a lot, which makes me need a wee.
No, I don't like them. Any ride that lasts long enough for me to think about what I'm doing, I don't like.
They go on too long, don't they?
Yeah. I like to be able to just shut my eyes and wait for it to be over. And if it's done in 20 seconds, that's a bonus for me. When I was on this one at Fort Park, Stealth, the one that goes stupidly fast, I opened my eyes once on that ride and loosened my white knuckle grip. But I opened my eyes just as it got to the very top, and it just basically, it's going stupidly fast. I opened my eyes as I started to come down, and I just saw myself hurtling towards the ground and shut them again quick. But yeah, I don't like anything that is going on long enough for me to think, why am I doing this? What's happening? That doesn't sound too clever. What's going on there? That could break in a minute. It just needs to be quick and over. I want to be too scared to scare myself by thinking about it. I want the adrenaline fear, not the logical, this could break any moment fear.
Yeah, I think that tends to be my fear. Again, at Drayton Manor, I went on a loop-the-loop roller coaster there, where when it did the first... It was quite slow, so when it did the loop, I fell forward a bit. I felt like I was falling out of the harness. And I thought, that's not the kind of fear I want. I don't want the fear that I'm falling out and I have to hold on for dear life. And I felt like I was. My legs were bent under the seat so tightly that I thought, this isn't fun. This is just me thinking I'm probably going to die. And again, I know I probably didn't. I think I'm safer. I spent my birthday last year at Peppa Pig World with my daughter. And I think I'm probably safer on them kind of things. So that was awesome. We just had a laugh. They were fun rides because she was enjoying herself and I was just chilling out. Which I don't want to sound like a sissy. That was fun because she was having fun.
That's another extraordinarily expensive theme park. I went there last summer as well.
I didn't get ripped off by this. I found it probably the whole day cost me about 50, 60 quid.
For me, my dad, my brother and my kids, £130.
See, I had the luxury of I got there and there was a sign that said if your kid is under a metre tall, they can go in for free. And my daughter was something like 98.5 centimetres tall. They stuck her under this thing made of stone. Like if she can fit under there without bending down, she can go in for nothing. So she just walked under it and she went, my head's hurting, like grazing her scalp on it. She was like, ouch.
That's what happened to you, wasn't it? That's what happened to your hair. Yeah.
But no, she got in and we said, well, we ain't coming back tomorrow because she might have grown. She was gross.
Did you make her take her shoes off before she did it?
No.
See, that would have been the sensible step. Yeah.
But no, they said you had to be with shoes. They thought of everything.
She wasn't wearing her heels that day then?
No, but there's nothing she couldn't go on in there, which I thought was odd. None of them were height restricted, so she could go on everything in there. And it was fun for me because I had to go on everything and not stand with the stuff because my wife was pregnant, so she had to watch us go on most of the rides. There's like 2 rides she could go on, but it wasn't very fun for her. But no, it was awesome. I honestly can recommend if you don't know what to do on your birthday, go somewhere with your kids. It is bitching. I had much more fun than I would have done if I'd have gone shopping.
Did you still end up vomiting on your shoes at the end of the night, like on a normal birthday?
I haven't vomited at a theme park, probably.
Interesting. Mozzers on Twitter has asked, if all the park mascots were to have a fight to the death, who would win? 1-on-1 only. Disney have a fucking army. So he's not allowing all the Disney characters to get involved at once. It's 1-on-1 battles. That's exactly the one I was going to say, because they've got swords.
Yeah.
So
they would beat the shit out of them, wouldn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Get Obelix in there, just battering the crap out of people.
Though they are French, they might surrender.
Yeah, but they'd have won before then, I reckon. He's a big lad and he's got a sword and armour. Bugs Bunny doesn't stand a chance.
He really doesn't, does he? That was awesome. I really like that park. I would say if anyone's going to France, because I went to Euro Disney when I was there, and it was awful. I remember my parents bought 2-day tickets. I went the first day, then I had a hissy fit and stayed home the second day because I just didn't want to go. I got whiplash on Space Mountain. I don't think me and Space Mountain get on.
Nice. I think my parents must just be tight because when we went to France, we were given the option Euro Disney or Parc Asterix, and as I was about 15 at the time, I couldn't sit there and say I want to go to Disney. So we went to Parc Asterix.
I think again though, don't get me wrong. I imagine we probably were quite savvy with it and did some sort of 2-for-1 whatever type thing. I don't know.
Yeah, my parents remortgaged the house to get us a one-day pass for Parc Asterix.
Jesus. But yeah.